Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry for starting a little bit late, but I seem to have technical problems, and then my computer wants to restart, and you know how it goes. So my name is Jackie. I'm from the Cyber Academy. And the Cyber Academy, what we're trying to achieve is really bring across cyber awareness. Currently, we focus within the business world, but definitely going towards our youth and seeing how we can empower them and be more cyber aware as well. So I'm just going to take you through some of my content. So I'm not obviously going to go through everything, but just to give you a little bit of an idea of how it is that we're doing what we are doing. So we've got a bunch of experts in the office. We've got some ethical hackers, people that's been in the industry. You know, those of you that are in that space, you'll probably know each other because there's only a handful of you in South Africa, and most of you have also worked abroad. So we make use of their knowledge. We take some of our content from our penetration testing environment and also from our investigations that we do over the years. So we've put this content together, and we feel that it's quite relevant. Unfortunately, in South Africa, we don't have the luxury of having things accredited, because the time that it takes to have that, the content is stale already, and we've moved on to different attack vectors that's out there. So we do short, powerful, impactful training. We come in, we bring it home. We've got platforms that we can assess. We try to drive competency and not only just awareness, because I think there's a difference. We can do as much awareness as we like. They only retain that information so long, and they move on to their old tricks and trades. So we try to also instill competency within the environment. So here we've got a little cartoon, and on one side we've got Dave, and the other side, you know, we've got IT with their infrastructure, firewalls, encryptions, and all of their stuff. Who do you think wins this boxing match? Dave, always, hey? Because if I can get one of you to click on something you shouldn't, we will override the whole infrastructure. So you in your multi-billion-dollar infrastructure, good luck, you know? You can put everything in place. Humans are just so easily to manipulate. The next slide, just want to see how I move on here. We've got John Chambers, and he says there are two types of companies: those that have been hacked and those that don't yet know that they've been hacked. So for a lot of people, this is like such a broad statement. How can you say something like that? But you'll see a little bit through some of my presentation how easily it is for us to do what we do and to get into your infrastructure. All right, just terminology. As you know, we get three types of hackers: white hat, grey hat, and black hat hackers. And the people just don't understand that there is a difference, and they just think hackers are really all around bad. But I think in South Africa, we seem to have a lot of good guys. Most of them seem to be playing in the white hat, grey hat space. So white hat hackers, obviously the ethical hackers, get paid for their services to hack into infrastructure. The black hat hackers are the malicious guys. They're out for their own gain, doesn't care how it affects your infrastructure when they bring it down. And then the grey hat hackers are normally youngsters playing in the environment, doing what they do because they can and trying to test themselves, but not necessarily out to be malicious. I'm going to show you a little video clip, and this is obviously when we look at cyber, even countries at war uses cyber warfare to attack each other. In this little video clip, you'll see how this is possible, and I'll give you some more tips around it afterwards.
Why can't we talk more openly and publicly about Stuxnet?
Two answers before you even get started. I don't know, and if I did, we wouldn't talk about it anyway.
Something as simple and innocuous as this becomes a challenge for all of us to maintain accountability and control of our critical infrastructure systems. This actually contains the Stuxnet virus. It's impacting industrial control. Is this something that's coming after the homeland? If you get up in the morning and turn off your alarm and make coffee,
power plants, power grids,
and pump gas,
transportation, telecommunication,
and use the ATM, you've touched industrial control systems. It's what powers our lives.
Most of these systems are relatively easy for a sophisticated hacker to get into.
The security experts who are studying Stuxnet really think it required the resources of a nation state.
It spread to any Windows machine in the entire world. We didn't know if it was set to turn off all electricity plants around the world, or it would start shutting things down or launching some attack.
It was blowing up centrifuges, and it was leaving no trace.
There have been assassinations of nuclear scientists.
Some human assets had to be involved. Spies.
It went beyond our worst fears, our worst nightmares.
This is not your ordinary criminal doing this. This is someone bigger.
The monster turned against its creators, and now everyone is in this game.
This has the whiff of August 1945. Somebody just used a new weapon, and this weapon will not be put back into the box.
You've been focusing on Stuxnet, but that was just a small part of a much larger mission.
Okay, so as I said, even countries at war uses cyber warfare to attack each other. So typically what happens here is they needed to get rid of this nuclear plant. How can they do this? Looked at it, why don't they just bomb it? I mean, that's easy enough. We all have got some nuclear bombs and stuff. Why don't we just launch it? Unfortunately, this nuclear plant was in a very populated area, and if they had bombed it, there would have been a lot of casualties. So they had to be creative about it. One of the things of the plant was that it was also air-gapped. Air-gapped means that there is no connectivity in and out of this plant. So if they had to use cyber warfare, how would they have done this? And what they've done is then obviously looked at the security in the infrastructure, the people that works there, so obviously the scientists and so forth, and then started communicating with them through months and months and months of communication, getting them to trust you. They got one of the scientists to download something onto his laptop without him knowing. When he walked into the plant, plugged it in, it spread it into the infrastructure. It then recorded the systems so that it can reproduce the speeds of what the centrifuges was turning in, and then went live. The scientists couldn't figure out what was going on, but the centrifuges were spinning so fast that it actually ripped apart, and that's how they diffused this plant. So absolutely, humans are so manipulative, and it just takes time sometimes to just get them to trust you. All right, so most of the things that we focus on is social engineering. So we really look at how that is possible and just bring it home for people, because people don't always think that these things are possible. So when we just show them, that these things are possible, their horizons broaden a little bit and they think twice when they do certain things. So when we look at when we started driving, We went to driving school, we got our driver's license, and we started driving. And hopefully for your bank account as well, you know, you got your card, they showed you how to use it, they tell you to keep your PIN safe, don't let someone help you at the ATM. But when it comes to probably the most powerful thing on earth, the internet, no one teaches you how to use that safely. So hopefully today I can give you some tips on doing that going forward. All right. So normally what we do here is we've got a lot of exercises that we go through with the staff and individuals, showing them all sorts of examples that we use to get into your infrastructure. So mail spoofing is one, and I'm not going to go through all the exercises just because of time. And then we also look at, sorry, and now I've jumped 20 million slides. Just get back there. Would you mind sitting here and just man this thing for me to go on to the next slide, if you don't mind? All right. So we show them then all sorts of different attack vectors that we use, and specifically in our mail environment. Just move forward for me. So we show them that when you hover over a blue link, that it will show you where it actually goes to. People don't know these things. They don't know that they actually could do that and see where that would go to. One of the examples that we use is specifically with Barclays, and it shows that link goes to like a Korean site. So, you know, I don't know a lot of things, but I know that Barclays is definitely not in Korea. So, you know, those little small things that we try and bring across to our staff, showing them that there is a lot of ways that they can identify when email is not supposed to be opened. You can move on. We show them typical examples like an Amazon, you know, showing them that the URLs can be manipulated using a 0 instead of an O, an L instead of a 1, you know, those type of things that people just don't know is actually possible, or even spoofing. Move on. There is Barclays, where it shows that that link is actually going to Korea. So you should not be clicking on that link. So we try to also show people, don't follow links. If a bank sends you something and you're in doubt, log out, delete the email or ignore it, go log into your bank account and then see if there's any problems there. Don't ever follow any links. All right, just some phishing. Here we've got some Dropbox where we show that how we spoof the emails, and it's, you know, how easy it is for people to actually click on the links and how they would put in their information. Please go to this slide here. This is one that we did with one of our clients in Mauritius. So there we worked with a big bank, and in the whole process of working with them, we collated some information. And this was in their tax period. So what we did is we created an attack vector with the revenue services, which could be seen as our source. And we've sent out a letter saying that thank you very much for submitting your tax return. We're busy processing it. We still need some information. Can you please click on the link and complete the information so that we can finalize your tax return? And you can see in this instance, we have sent it to 25 people, and 13 people actually clicked on that link. I only needed one person. 13 people clicked on that. Just go on to the next slide. It would take them to the login site, And obviously, as you can see up there, the URL is not the Revenue Services URL. This is my site that I created. We've got a script that we show at a website, and it creates exactly replica of any website with functionality and content. I don't need to know anything about web design. And obviously I've created that, and they had to put in their username and password, and there you can see 7 people put in their correct username and password. And if I was a malicious guy, I could have then gone and committed some tax fraud on their behalf, maybe put in a claim for $1 million or something. 6 months later, the cops come and arrest you, and you say, it wasn't me, I was hacked. Isn't that the worst excuse you've ever heard? So it's very hard to then show that it wasn't you, because your right credentials were used to log in. Move on. Move on. So this is just the man in the middle exercise that we also do with our candidates, where we show to them, hopefully, that all the parts that we showed you before has then brought you to a point to show you that something is up, and I must be concerned, and hopefully you've aborted. But if you didn't, this is the worst scenario then, where a man in the middle attack then happens, where you then maybe log into your bank account. The man in the middle would send it on to the bank is happy because credentials are correct. You would converse like that. You would maybe create a beneficiary. You would log off. The man in the middle doesn't log off, and then pay out some of your money. And in this instance, there's very little that you can do to stop it, because you wouldn't know that he's there. Okay. This is one of our colleagues in Australia, and he sent this on to us, and I'll give you a second to read it. And basically, he was having a chat with one of the hackers on a WhatsApp. No. So first things, do you think he's scared? It's so easy to stay anonymous on the internet. They are not scared at all. And can you see why are they doing what they're doing? Because who's getting 20,000 paid a week? So it's really a lucrative business for them, and they stay in business, and they're absolutely not scared. Continue. All right, so here we also go through some more other examples, some farming, spearfishing, whaling. We give them the typical examples of, you're getting those emails, the Nigerian prince scam, or you've got the same surname as someone else in another country, and you've going to inherit that person's money, and all of those things. And we show them, when you read those emails, it's got the worst spelling, and you think, can't these people afford a spell checker? Seriously? But this is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and they want to run an efficient business. So if they can get rid of the clever people in the beginning, they want to do business with the people that's going to fall for the scam 3-4 steps down the line, and want you out, so that they can do this very fast and effectively. We talk about our executives. So we've got some syndicates in South Africa that really goes out and even follow some of them around and wait till they're unreachable, and starts communicating with your procurement or finance department. They even go as far as looking at your writing style. So if they send an email, not even their PAs can realize that it's not the correct person speaking to them. And they would say, I've just met with your FD. We had an excellent meeting. We concluded a special deal for you. Unfortunately, we can only give you the price for today. I'm going to submit you the documents. Please just start processing it so long. You can wait for him to confirm it, but we just don't want any delay. And an hour or so later, your CEO would send you, or your FD would send you an email and say, I'm on the plane, I can't talk, but I could send you an email. I've met with these guys. This is the situation. Can you please process this payment so that we can get this special deal that's only available for today? You go, you pay the deal. 2-3 days later, they walk into the office and they don't know why you've paid these people. And now you're in big trouble. You've paid out $1 million or $2 million, and it's cleared through the bank, and now what? So what we normally do around this is we also look at your processes and policies and procedures that you've got in your business, so that there's appropriate recourse of this. So if your executive walks in and says, why didn't you pay these people? We've lost this massive deal. I mean, seriously, I gave you instruction to pay them. And then you can just say, you didn't follow process. I needed to have 2 signatures or whatever the process was that you've set up in your company. And you would be safe, and he could not reprimand you in that retrospect. So make sure that you empower your staff so that when they're in these difficult situations, that they know what to do and they are covered. Okay, go on. So let's watch this little video clip.
So I invited the world's best hackers to try to hack me and show me where my vulnerabilities are. And now I'm going to meet them in Las Vegas for DEF CON, the biggest hacker convention of the year. They're going to hack me using social engineering, which is essentially hacking without any code. They just use a phone and an internet connection.
Do you want to do a sample phishing call?
What's phishing?
Phishing is voice solicitation, and basically what you do is you use the phone to extract information or data points that can be used in a later attack.
Let's do it. Who are you going to call?
Maybe I'll call your cell phone provider and
Okay.
see if I can get them to give me your email address.
I bet they're good. I bet they have my back. But yeah, go for it.
I'm going to spoof from your number, so it's going to look like it's calling from you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm so sorry. Can you hear me okay? My baby, I'm sorry. my husband's like, we're about to apply for a loan and we just had a baby and he's like, get this done by today. So I'm so sorry. I can't call you back. I'm trying to log into our account for uses information and I can't remember what email address we used to log the account. The baby's crying and can you help me? Awesome.
In just 30 seconds,
At gmail.com?
Jessica gets access to my personal email address.
Now, if I needed to add our older daughter on our account so she could call in and make changes, how would I need to go about doing that? You would have to send me a secure PIN through a text message? Yeah, well, the thing is, I don't think I'll be able to receive a text message if I'm on the phone. Oh, I'm not on there either? So I thought when we got married, he added me to the account.
Jess uses my girlfriend's name and a fake social security number
5127.
to set up her own personal access to my account.
Wait, I'm sorry, so there's no password on my account right now? Can I set that up?
She even gets the support person to change my password.
Thank you so much for your help today.
So she just basically blocked me out of my own account.
I'll get her fed after this. All right, thank you.
Holy shit. So they just gave you access to my entire cell phone account.
You're gonna have to go on and change your password now because it's Jess, my name.
And all it took was a crying baby and a phone call.
So this is very interesting because we've got so many call centers out there and, you know, working with really sensitive information. And I don't think half of them really realize that this is happening, you know. And again, processes and procedures being in place and making sure that they comply to POPI and GDPR, you know. So it really just brings this home to say that there is so much possibility for you to get into big trouble, and how to keep the information safe when you're working with client information. USB baiting, so we know this is such a common vector out there, but we still fall for this every single day. When we work with clients, we would have memory sticks lying around, leave some at the printer, you know, drop some in the parking lot, in the bathrooms, everywhere. And without fail, someone is going to pick up a memory stick and pop it in. When they pop it in, they will maybe see some of, just click once. I'll maybe see files like those, some Angry Birds, some music, and by far our best performer, payroll.zip. We always want to know what the other person is earning. And they would click on that and I would have immediate access. And we don't care what antivirus you are using. We absolutely do not care because we will bypass it because you are giving me access by giving it, clicking on that link. We also explain to people that PDFs, zip documents, those are also malicious. They think Excel spreadsheets and those are not malicious, and we show them that those are also really, really bad examples of cyber attacks. Go on. All right, so obviously if you've clicked on something that you shouldn't, and you're sitting in the office and maybe a black box pops up or something and you look around and did anyone see, and you just, I'm going to keep quiet, I'm not going to say anything. We try to encourage people to speak up. If you've seen something happening that you're not sure what's happening, go to your IT, engage with them and say, you know, I might have clicked on something that I shouldn't have, but you know, now I'm scared. Can you have a look and see what's going on? Normally people don't do that. But what happens is your document starts looking like this, all gibberish. You can't work. And the next minute it happens to the guy next to you, and then the guy next to him, and the guy next to him. And in an hour or two, the whole country, all your branches are all encrypted and no one can work. And you are required to pay a ransom. And we explain to staff that this is probably the worst thing you can do for your company. Bring them down to their knees, and some companies never recovers from an incident like this. So just bringing that home and making them understand that they are custodians to keep the business going, and they need to work with IT to do so, because IT cannot do that alone. Then we also talk a little bit about physical security. So when we go and visit our clients, you will be so surprised how many times we see people writing down passwords, usernames and passwords. There's a guy doing an interview on the BBC with his username and password written on the board for the whole world to see. Shame. So please don't write anything down. You're going on holiday and you're writing your username and password down, you're leaving it for your colleague to use while you are gone. We do some dumpster diving, it's not a regular thing, but even just a small thing like a reference number, you know, could help us a lot. Because you might be throwing out a reference number for your water and electricity account, for example. We phone them, we quote the reference number, they give us some information, we write it down, we put the phone down, we phone again, and we've got that information and some more. And eventually we get to the end where we say, look, I just want to confirm that you've got my right ID number on file. Can you confirm that with me? They confirm, I've got all your information, and I can go down the road and maybe buy some furniture on account, and 6 months later you get a summons because you are not paying your account, for example. So that is something that's definitely doable. This is a lady, in the UK there was this young upcoming lawyer. She just became junior partner at this firm, moved into a new office, and took a nice selfie of herself in her new office, posted it onto Instagram, and obviously did the rounds with all her friends and whomever can see that. What one of the people that was viewing her photo saw is that there was a very important document on the desk behind her, and realized that it was a merger document between two multinationals. and the word got out and they started buying up stock. So it got so bad that they had to cancel this multinational merger between these two companies. Firstly, she lost her job and the company lost their biggest client. So what we are saying here is clean desk policy. If you are not actively working on a document, please put it away. It should not be on your desk. We walk around in offices and you will be so surprised what we see lying around. So we really try and explain to them why you should be practicing a clean desk policy. Also, if you're going to take a photo on the beach drinking a long cocktail, the scallops know you're not home, guys. So don't be surprised if you get home and your house has been broken into. So be careful what you are sharing on social media. We go to a lot of conferences around the world, and never have I been to a cyber conference or hacking conference where a hacker looked like that. They never look like that. They look professional. They dress nicely. They know what they're doing. They're on their phones talking, you know, comfortable of where they are going. And it's so easily to manipulate anyone. Tailgating through booms at your offices, pitching up as a UPS or delivery guy, getting access to your buildings. So what we also say here is, if you see someone walking around in your office and you don't necessarily know who they are and you're not sure what they are doing there, ask them, you know, can I help you? Why are you not being escorted? Or if you don't want to do that, you know, phone security and ask them to come and find out. If you see weird things plugged into the walls, you know, phone IT or maintenance, is this your equipment? What is it doing here, you know? Because I might have plugged in something that can run on your Wi-Fi for 3 days and measuring everything that's happening within your infrastructure. So just making people a little bit more aware to say, you know your environment and what is there, and how can I also advocate for my business. Let's watch this video.
When I say the word hacker, some creepy dude in a basement? Well, that's a misconception. What if I told you there's a class of hackers who don't just have social skills, they have more social intelligence than anyone you'll ever meet? David Kennedy is one of them. He's what's known as a social engineer, or a people hacker. His craft is to dupe you into doing things and sharing information you probably shouldn't.
Can I just get your credit card number?
Some use it for illegal activity. In David's case, companies pay him to find out if employees are leaving the company vulnerable. He and his team show us how it's done. Step 1, spoof his number so it looks like he's calling from inside the company, and then call tech support.
Hello, you there? Hello?
Hi, this is Ken. How may I help you?
I was wondering if you can take a look at a website I'm trying to get to. It's for a big customer thing I'm working on for Monday, and I can't seem to get to the website from my computer.
Sure. What's the website? I'll see if I can get to it.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate the help. I mean, it could be a stupid thing. I'm really stuck with computers, but so it's www.survey. That's SURVEY -pro.com.
Yeah, I got a prompt to open. I just click open, and I'm at the site now.
Here's what the IT guy doesn't realize. By clicking that link, he's just given David full access to his computer.
Whoa, okay, that's weird. I just hit it and it works. It seems like it's working fine now. Awesome. I don't know what you did, man, but I really appreciate the help.
Hey, no problem. That was easy.
That was it?
We're on this computer right now.
You were able to take over this guy's computer within, I would say, like, under 2 minutes.
Under 2 minutes, yeah. Under 2 minutes, took over his entire computer, and think of it as not just his computer, but it's pretty much a downfall of the entire company.
In this case, the company was paying David to hack them, see if their employees would fall for it. They did.
So how scary is that? If I can get your IT to do that, I've got admin rights probably, you know, and I can move around freely within your infrastructure. So, yeah. Our next topic is passwords. So, passwords is quite a topic, you know. We all think we can pick good passwords, but from our experience, we know that passwords are probably the most difficult thing for anyone to pick. And I'm going to try and teach you how to pick a good password. All right, so we advise to try and use multi-factor authentication as far as possible. Many sites allow you to do so. And we really want you to look into it and try and use it. Obviously, something you know, something you are, and something you have. Like for instance, I don't worry if someone hacks my account because they need to have my cell phone and my fingerprints to open that up and get my one-time PIN to get into my account. So, you know, it just makes it a little bit more difficult for someone to get into. If we look at the top 25 used passwords around the world, they hardly change year after year. And this slide is about just over a year old, but you can look at the others. They still stay the same year on year. So if you see your password there, shame on you. Please go and change it after this, hey? Am I seeing some laughter there? Please go and change your password. We also explain to them how we can crack your password if we get access to your hashes. So that's a whole exercise that we also do with the staff so that I can understand that process as well. Go on. All right, so obviously telling them to not use common words from dictionary and so on, because if we get your hash, it's easy for us to go and see what we've compiled in our dictionary if it matches any of your content on your hashes. I've got a big server at the office, and if I use my server to do some password cracking, it guesses 24.8 billion guesses per second. So if your password is 8 characters long, it takes me 5 minutes to crack your password. If it's 9 characters, 3 hours, 10 characters, 2 days. So just move on. So it just shows you how easy it is if you've got the right infrastructure or devices to crack passwords. In 2016, 554 billion people's contacts were leaked. And not by fault of any of them, but, oops, I wanted to click on this. Sorry, this thing is just not navigating with us today. Quickly. Quickly, eBay. So not at fault of their own, but through customers that they have registered with. So there you can see in 2016, eBay, Adobe, Target, how many people's details were leaked. And what we try to also bring across here is that people do tend to use passwords in various ways. Who uses the same password on various sites? Hands up, come. We all do, right? We all do, because we say it's hard to remember. We can't remember all our passwords, so we use the same username and passwords on multiple sites. So if you do, and eBay, Adobe, and all the others are attacked and they get the username and password, they can then go onto multiple other sites and put in your username and password because they know you are using the same credentials for multiple sites and get access to other sites as well. So please, please, please don't use the same username and password on multiple sites. There's a nice website that you can go to. It's called Have I Been Pwned? You can go in and put your email address there, and you can see if you have been attacked on any of those sites. If your information was compromised. Here is one of our ethical hackers information that we put in, and he's probably one of the safest people that I know. And he was compromised 7 times. So luckily for him, he's not worried because he doesn't use the same username and password on multiple sites. Next, go. All right. Passwords are like underwear. Change yours often. Don't share them with friends. The longer the better. Be mysterious and don't leave yours lying around. So good for life and for passwords. Let's do another exercise. So if I take a laptop of 2012, an old laptop, and I use that laptop to crack your password. If your password was password 1, I mean, that's really a bad password, and it still makes the rounds every day. But you know, if I take that password, it will take that old laptop 4 seconds to crack. If we look at the next password there, there we've got some capitals, some lowercase, some numbers. I think you would say that's a good password, hey? That's a good password. If I use that old machine, it will take about 4 months for me to crack that password. The next one is James eats a giant peach. So if I take that password, it will take that laptop 10,000 centuries to crack. Why would you say is that? It's long. So I'm not saying don't use capitals and numbers and things like that, but try and look at a long password. We type sentences every day. Why do we want to go and remember a password that password says hard to remember? So it's substitution. It's hard for you to remember and it's easy for me to crack. So don't do that. Go and find something, a motto, a lyric from a song, a phrase, I love my wife Joan, or I hate my wife Joan, whatever works for you. But, be, creative about it. And it's easier for you to type out a sentence and hard for me to crack. All right, so just to recap on passwords, so try and use passwords longer than 12 characters. I know there's lots of people saying systems only allow me to use 8 characters or so. I normally say I don't do business with those sites. If it's something within your business, I don't know, maybe speak to IT and see if you can get around that. It's obviously a compromise if you do use shorter passwords. I don't use common phrases from the dictionary. Substitution, it's bad, it's easy for me to crack, hard for you to remember. Use uppercase, lowercase as far as possible and special characters. Okay? A lot of people ask about password managers. We do recommend it. We always say, who's doing a better job of keeping your password safe, you or them? This is obviously what they do on a full-time basis. And yes, they have been hacked, but they normally, bring that across to you immediately and make sure that you then change your password. But, you can have a look at these 3 examples of password managers. There's many more. Go and read up about it. Find one that works for you because they're all different. And try them out. I would really recommend that. All right. We also look at just some of these examples that we go through with the staff. So looking at HTTPS, what the S stands for, and how easy it is then for me to move around. So obviously the S stands for secure, and that means that when you type out information that it goes out encrypted. So I would go and sit in a coffee shop on a Saturday morning. I would have a device called a Wi-Fi Pineapple. I would put it up, it kicks the coffee shop's website off, it puts mine in place, and I can serve, everyone's devices while in that infrastructure. I can even go and strip the S from the HTTPS when I'm in that coffee shop. So Wi-Fi is bad, guys. Please use it responsibly. Don't go and do banking or anything like that on a Wi-Fi, public Wi-Fi infrastructure. Rather, go home, do your thing in a private environment. Download music, surf Facebook, whatever you want to do, but please be careful. You might be filling out a form for your kid for school, and you're putting all your information in there, and the whole world, you can just as well stand up in the coffee shop, shout out to everyone to hear what you're busy typing. So please be careful using public Wi-Fi. We talk about cookies, just clearing that on a regular basis, so don't let the data build up. We talk about the website certification, to see the authentication of the website and all of those things that staff are normally not aware of. Okay, move on quickly. More. Wait. Oi. All right, so let's leave it at that. I think we're running out of time as well. So basically what we're trying to say is be calm, love your IT. They can only secure your company with your help. So if you see something, say something. Don't keep quiet and use your devices responsibly. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you, everyone.